and I'm not. And there's no free will, so there's really nothing I can do about it, because he said, yes, it's not by works. It's not by works, it's only by grace. I said, so how do we get the grace? He said, God has to choose you. So I said, wait a minute, so you're telling me that there's a God that creates, well, it's more than 6 billion now. I think it's higher, it's like 8 billion people. So there's a God, at least this planet. I'm not even going to talk about the other universe out there, which they're there. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and 144,000 are going to be saved, and God pretty much created all those people to go to hell for eternity. And he's like, look, I don't make the rules. I'm just following the scripture. And I said, all right, but you have to see that there's some flaws. So maybe your understanding is not correct. How could God's all merciful and all these other things? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we have to reject these things. And again, like I said, it's not Christianity. If you look, there's a compassionate idea of God there. It's not Christianity, it's the misconception. So, does anyone like to cook here? Does anyone enjoy cooking? What's your favorite recipe? Like you like to make?
They change.
What is it? Or what's one that you enjoy making?
Mac and cheese.
Yeah, mac and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese?
No.
No?
No. I made tortellini with spinach. And
Tortellini with spinach.
That was very good.
Anyone else like to cook?
I like
Sounds
to cook,
good.
yes.
What's something else?
Oh. Samosas.
Okay, she likes to make samosas. He likes to make tortellini. What do you like to make?
Lentejas.
What?
Lentejas.
Lentejas.
Lentils.
Lentils,
with
tortellini.
vegetables.
And what's a good dessert? Does anyone like to prepare dessert? Has anyone?
Chocolate cake.
Okay, chocolate cake. Now, does everyone like those kind of things?
Yeah.
Okay. What would happen if we mixed them all in one pot
Ew.
and we served it out? Now, do you like it? Why? It's good. It's tortellini. There's even chocolate cake in it. No, we don't like that, right? So this is kind of the other end of the fallacy. So we reject unjust ideas. And the other fallacy is like, it's all good, it's all one. So naturally, certain things are going to clash. So that's why there's these different spiritual paths. Now, if you cook them all together and you put them all on one plate and you serve that to somebody, it's a feast. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. So all these traditions exist. And if we are willing enough to explore them and dedicate ourselves to one of them, or in other words, take one of the paths very seriously and dive deep, not only will we be able to see the connections in all of the religions, but we'll also be able to appreciate God according to how He's seen by different people in this world, and we'll have our own realization. That's our very own. It's not somebody else's realization that here now I believe. Now what are we supposed to believe? No, it's your realization. So we just chanted this mantra Hare Krishna. So that's what the translation of Krishna means, in case anyone thinks this is a sectarian place. It means all-inclusive. It means all-inclusive. So Krishna is all-inclusive. It includes everything. It's not a sectarian thing. It means that essence, that source from which we all come. You may call something else, that's okay. It doesn't bother us. It's Krishna. So, but even if you don't think that Krishna is a good name for that truth or for God or whatever you want to say, then follow your own path and do it nicely. And if you do it nicely, you'll come to that unity state. You'll be able to see your same object of reverence in all things, all people. Thank you very much. All in there? Thank you. We need to hear that, right? Because it's for so long, there's so much choral like this. It's amazing. So is there any comments or questions? Please share your ideas before we move on to the
I have a
dinner.
comment.
Yes.
I don't believe in it, but
always, when I was young, I thought that people of like ancient cultures who believed in the sun just were kind of like idiots who just were worshiping the sun.
Mm.
But there's actually a philosophy that it's more like the Earth is an entity that's alive in itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the sun and the solar system is alive. So it's more of a view of a oneness of like the sun and our solar system as a living thing that's conscious in its own way.
That's why I personally like the Vedic knowledge, because and that also Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he says that some people worship the sun, some people worship the God within, some people worship the deity or the statue in the temple, and he said, but you know what? God can appear as all of those things. So that's the real highest thing, is to be able to see God. In India, they say Surya Narayan. It's actually a form of God, the sun itself. It's quite amazing when you bridge the gaps. It's a good point. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm asking this because I really don't know. I
Okay.
would like to know, do all religions bring someone to pure bhakti?
Pure bhakti means the transcendental stage that Bhaktivinoda Thakur... Bhakti just means unlimited selfless love to that source, or that absolute truth from which we come. According to this, he says, yes, it does. It's all heading in the right direction. He said, provided, again, that there's no unjust ideas, that it resonates with the heart, it resonates with logic. We don't have to abandon logic. Some people say it's all faith. You can't know through the mind. You can't know by a book or reading. No, if it's absolute, it has to be able to be communicated through a book or through the mind, right? It has to include everything. The mind, the heart, reading has to be available. So he said everything has a different direction, but ultimately if one is truly sincere, why not? They can attain the highest through that path. Yes.
I'd say one should also not be afraid to compare the ideas. In other words, often people, when they see something different to themselves, they tend to ridicule or belittle or even attack just because it's different. Why? Because it's an attack on their integrity, attack on their ideas that they have managed to pull together and create a certain concept of life. And same fear is there for people who are on a philosophical search, or you could say religious search. They don't, because they're not true seekers, they have a difficulty of launching into the unknown and expose themselves to other people's ideas. I mean, as you said, one should be liberal enough to compare the two and you know, see the worth of each.
Yeah, I found that the most difficult aspect of my search or my path was that I was raised Christian, and then I started practicing yoga and exploring other ideas, and I mean, I don't feel like I had a major conversion. I feel like I'm just continuing the search, but for a long time, I felt really negative towards the way I was raised, and that religion in particular, and I still have like parts of me that get like
residue.
Yeah, you know, you get like an itchy, angry feeling sometimes based on the way it's been, I guess, misinterpreted and misused a lot. But I think that struggle there is really important because it helps me realize that not only do I not want to look at it something that's different and something that I'm not sort of used to, but I don't want to look back on something that didn't work for me as if it won't work for somebody else, you know? I still think that Christianity is valid for other people. Maybe it doesn't work for me right now, maybe it will in the future again, but keeping that openness towards the negative experiences that I've had with religion, I think is also a big, important part of it. It's a hard thing.
Well said. That was good.
I was just gonna say, when you can admire the beauty and ultimate, you know, beauty of the world and the universe, and you can be at peace, and you have love and respect for everything, I think that's when you really get to be gifted by, you know, that higher energy. So just be kind, be peaceful, and, you know, I think that higher energy will guide you in the right direction.
I'm wondering which books in the Srimad Bhagavatam speak about the heavenly worlds.
It's kind of a different topic.
I'm just wondering which books speak about the heavenly world.
Bhagavatam is a wonderful just key to universal knowledge. So a lot of it is because in other words, this book that he's referring to, in case you don't know, it's a Sanskrit text from ancient India, that it pretty much gives us not just like a view of life that, okay, we're on Earth and we have politics and Democrats and Republicans, but it gives you like a universal view, so much that, like, for example, there's a statement, there's 8,400,000 species of life in the entire universe. So it's not even looking at Earth, it's saying from a universal standpoint, these are like different like worldviews. So yes, this book, Bhagavatam, gives a lot of overview of different like worlds, and you can see a lot of that's one thing that intrigued me about this Vedic knowledge, because when I looked into like ancient Mayan civilization of South America, I saw that they had a diagram of 13 worlds. So there's like higher, and it was like very similar to this. So yeah, a lot of this Bhagavatam has that. Yeah, but that's more of a different topic.
Do you feel that over the history of the universe on Earth, that many of the people who have contributed to our knowledge have been spirits from other worlds that have brought their intelligence to advance us?
Oh.
Like the incarnations of Vishnu.
We're all spirits from other worlds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is not, I think this is the pinnacle of the white guys' audacity. This is the only white guys' claim, white races claim that, there's life only on this planet. I mean, how do you know? That's a completely blind faith or blind doubt. It works for both sides. How do you know that there's nothing else elsewhere in the universe?
Huge universe.
Okay, now my answer to follow that is
that's what I'm saying is that
my answer to follow that is how do you distinguish where we all originated from, where we've all traveled from, in what manner? Right. What is that main characteristic in your heart and soul that says, he was from a different, level of existence or different wavelength? How do you tell from every different individual? Can you not tell, or can you tell?
You can tell some things. Some people use regression to do something like that. But ultimately, really what matters is that you're here now and you have to move forward.
Yeah.
We're being pushed forward by time. It's not
By time,
not even
by
so much,
something
not
else.
even so much a choice, but yeah, like we're part of.
Because it makes it seem
We're
like
part of
time
a
is
rhythm
just-
that's pushing us all, and we're all connected
I don't
to
think
it.
time has control over us, so I think
Astrology also.
Just wait a little bit.
Astrology can also tell you.
You see.
Vedic astrology, at least not Western. I don't think they got that far. So we're going to do a few announcements.
Yeah. So thank you very much.